The Toronto Maple Leafs and their fans have to wait at least one more game, one more win before 14 years of pain can just fade away into the abyss. Let's get right to it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Steele Roden, graduate from the College of Sports Media in downtown Toronto, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network for over a year now, and your co-host for the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. We appreciate all the love, all the support you show us every single day. Today, we are starting the episode with a public announcement. Has anyone out there seen Mika Zibanejad or Artemi Panarin, forwards of the New York Rangers? Anybody? Has anyone seen them? Last seen 12 days ago in the regular season. Obviously, I'm just kidding. They are a part of the Rangers still, and they are in the postseason, but they have not showed up. What is real is the New Jersey Devils have now won 3 straight games and lead the series 3-2. Heading back to Newark for game 6, to Madison Square Garden for game 6, where they can close out the series against those New York Rangers. The Golden Knights, the first team to advance to the second round so far in the postseason. They dominate, pure domination against the Winnipeg Jets 4-1. They win that series 4-1. But of course, we have to start with the blue and white. The blue and white series, really, Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Maple Leafs and their fans have to wait at least one more game, at least one more win before there's big smiles from ear to ear or there's tears falling down their face. It is a tough, tight matchup right now. Leafs still leading the series 3-2. That's where we're starting this episode. I would have absolutely loved if the Leafs closed this series out, but I have it going 7 games. I've had it going 7 games for a while now. I still think the Leafs win this series. I think they break the curse, lift everyone's spirits, and they do it in incredible fashion. You know, something that hasn't been done for so long, but I have this going 7 games. I would love for the Leafs to win in 6. I hope they do on the road. They've shown us they can come back and fight when they're when they're down and out of a game. They won both road games as well in this series. So I would love for them to win game 6 and just get it over with, win the series so we can get past this hump and just get on to the second round. I hope they do, but I have the Leafs in 7. It would be a perfect story. Maple Leafs finally accomplished something that they haven't done since 2004 and something that they haven't done in the last 6 years. Let's get past the first round, and that's winning a game 7. 2 things that have just been blocking and crucifying the Toronto Maple Leafs for so many years now. And what else did you expect from the Tampa Bay Lightning and in game 5? You know, they're down 3-1. What else do you expect from Andrei Vasilevskiy, one of the best goalies in the world? Stands tall, stands on his head, .933 save percentage, only 2 goals allowed. First time, I think it was the second time in the last 12 playoff games, they said, that Vasilevskiy didn't allow more than 3 goals in a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. So very surprising about those stats right there. But Vasilevskiy gets the job done in game 5, holds on to the life for this club moving forward. Overall, great game, though. Great game for both teams. If I was nitpicking here, and obviously I will, I didn't like the second goal Ilya Samsonov let in. I think everyone can agree on that. He was cheating a little bit. He didn't think that puck was going to go in from that angle from Michael Eyssimont. And it was just a weak goal to let in. And Ilya Samsonov knew that right away. He put his head up. His stick was on the ice, and he was shaking his head in disappointment at himself. So I didn't like the second goal. Didn't really like the third goal as well. It pinballed off of a lot of people. And it was one of those seeing eye pucks where no matter what happened, it was somehow getting in. So honestly, I thought the Maple Leafs were going to be able to crawl back into this game and win again in overtime, and that's what it seemed like was going to happen. If one of those goals just didn't go in, I think it was going to fall in the way of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they would have won that series in Game 5. But Lightning get it done. Nick Paul gets his first goal of the series and first goal of the playoffs so far. Somebody who's been dominant since the Lightning traded for him back last year at the trade deadline. The Leafs still have a 3-2 series lead. I wish they would have won it already. I hope they win in Game 6, but they will win in Game 7 if it goes the distance. That's just my take on it. It will be great for my NHL playoff bracket as well. What I don't think, oh man, at this point, like I don't even know what to think from the Rangers anymore. I was so high again for the second year in a row that the New York Rangers are going to go the distance. I still think they go the distance, but the fact that they've let it get this far, where now they have to win the next 2 games, they have to win in 7. I just don't understand what their top players have been doing and where they've been this entire series. I'm appalled by what I've been watching from this New York Rangers group, up 2-0 in the series after 2 road wins. They were on the road in the first 2 games against the Devils, and they won 5-1 both times. Pure domination. They weren't even getting it from Zibanejad and Artemi Panarin. They were getting it from Tarasenko, Adam Fox, Chris Kreider, Patrick Kane, who's got 1 goal and 5 assists. 6 points in 5 games for Patrick Kane. And what do those top guys have to show for it? 0 goals from Zibanejad. 0 goals from Artemi Panarin. And only 2 assists for both of them. So 4 points between the 2 top players for the New York Rangers is just very, very disappointing. That's why I was making that public announcement at the very beginning of this episode. They have not been found, nowhere to be seen in this series. And I got to give kudos to the New Jersey Devils, and especially Akira Schmidt, who comes in for Game 3 after, comes in replacement of Vitek Vanacek, who just was playing awful for the first 2 games. He's been fantastic ever since he's come in. 2 goals allowed in 3 games, records a shutout in Game 5. And the Devils have won 3 straight games. Kudos to Akira Schmidt for coming in this very, very scary experience for your first time being in there, especially against the New York Rangers. But really, the entire group in front of him, got to give some love to Dougie Hamilton and the guys on the blue line. Jack Hughes, who's getting it done offensively. They've all stepped up their game since Schmidt replaced Vitek Vanacek in this series. But the Rangers, simply enough, just aren't scoring. They're just not scoring. It's not Igor Shesterkin's fault. You go back to Game 3 and Game 4, I think it was 3-1 and 2-1. Yeah, Game 3 was 2-1 in overtime. Could have gone either way. And Game 4 was 3-1 with an empty netter. Bottom line is, the top guys for the New York Rangers are not producing right now. You're relying on the 2 guys that they acquired at the NHL trade deadline. And they're the ones that are actually producing, except for the last 3 games where they're just not scoring enough goals. They get shut out, and they get 2 goals in the last 3 games. It's not enough. The Devils are putting the pressure on right now. They got a chance to tie up the series back home at Madison Square Garden, and then they got to win on the road again, which they've already done twice now, the first 2 games of this series. So for me, I need the Rangers to win this series. I have the Rangers going all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, going to the distance, and winning the Stanley Cup this season. So it would be very disappointing if in the first round, my Stanley Cup final and Stanley Cup champion were to be eliminated against the New Jersey Devils, who haven't even been in the postseason for the last 6-7 years. Big disappointment, but what you will not be disappointed by is eBay Motors. This episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. And when you shop on eBay Motors, and with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. We appreciate all the love, all the support you show us every single day. And remember, make sure you leave some comments on the YouTube video. DM us any questions, any concerns you have for next year's Fantasy Hockey League, NHL Playoff brackets, any bets you have, let us know as well. If you're winning, you're losing, you need some help with something, let Flip and I know. Don't be afraid to communicate with us out there. But yeah, Akira Schmid, New Jersey Devils up 3-2 in the series now. They've won 3 straight games. They're doing something the Golden Knights are sort of doing right now. Golden Knights just won 4 straight games, and they are the first team to advance to the second round of Stanley Cup playoffs. We will get to big-time bets at the end of the episode. We will talk about a few of those other series for Friday night as well. But the Golden Knights, first team of the postseason to make it and secure themselves a second-round placement, defeating the Winnipeg Jets 4-1 in their series. And that's the crazy thing, is they lost game 1 at home, and they were dominated. They were embarrassed 5-1. And it really did look like it was going to go the distance, or the Winnipeg Jets were going to upset the Golden Knights in 6. That's what it looked like after game 1. But the tide turned a little bit. You got to show some respect and a ton of adversity for the Winnipeg Jets and Rick Bowness's group. They lose Josh Morrissey in game 2. They lose Mark Scheifele in game 4. They never had Cole Perfetti. Nikolai Ehlers has been dealing with injuries all season long. And I didn't have a ton of faith in the Winnipeg Jets. I had the Vegas Golden Knights to win in 6. They win in 5. So that's a green check mark right there. Not obviously the correct prediction of the score outcome, but still the right team to win. I didn't think this Winnipeg Jets team was good enough. And, they came up short, obviously missing a ton of crucial guys in their lineup, but they did fight out their hearts. They did play their hearts out and really show a ton of adversity and a ton of will and determination to try to pull something together, the rabbit out of the hat at the end. But it was just too much dominant performance. And that was the crazy thing. I was looking at the stats a little bit, and I've been hearing, the analysts going through it as well. The Jets had an absolutely incredible special teams, all playoffs, all 5 games. 41.7% on the power play, second best, right behind the Edmonton Oilers, who were over 52% on the power play, and the third best penalty kill, 85.7% on the penalty kill for the Winnipeg Jets. So they were absolutely incredible on special teams in all 5 games, but they just couldn't get anything going 5-on-5, it seemed like, after game 1. They only had 1 power play goal in game 1, and that was the 5th goal. After game 1, they couldn't get anything going in the offensive zone on even strength, swarmed by the depth of Bruce Cassidy's lines and his matchups. Chandler Stevenson and Mark Stone, that combination with Jack Eichel is just absolutely lethal. William Karlsson, just up and down the lineup. The defensive group was very great all series long. And then you got to give some love, and you got to give a pat on the back to Laurent Brossoit of the Vegas Golden Knights. Played 3 years for the Winnipeg Jets as a backup right behind Connor Hellebuck. He only played 11 games this year in the regular season. He went 7-0-3 to end the year. And just what a story it is. Former player, former goalie, former backup goalie for the Winnipeg Jets for 3 years before coming to Vegas. Starts the postseason. When Vegas has, the Vegas goalie carousel of Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson and Jonathan Quick, and now someone else is backing up Brossoit. And he's only played 11 games in the regular season. He's 30 years old, 7-0-3. Starts the postseason, a .250 goals against average, a .915 save percentage. I thought he would have ended up with the shutout in game 5. Lets a goal in the third period. Doesn't matter. .915 save percentage, a .250 goals against average. He stepped up when Vegas needed him to. I really was doubting. There was a lot of doubt for Laurent Brossoit in Vegas going into this matchup. I still thought they were going to come out on top in this series, But after this series, it depends if they face the Kings, if they face the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know yet. I wasn't sure about Persois, but I'm still not sure. I don't know what team he's going up against in the second round. It doesn't matter. Whether team is going to be a bigger and better challenge for him. But kudos to him to going up against his former team, getting the series, closing it out when Vegas has dealt with a ton of adversity and a ton of challenges all season long with the goalies and a few of their other players. Being able to get Mark Stone back in this series has been absolutely huge. So kudos to them. First team to move on to the second round of the postseason. We are going to get to big time bets very, very soon. But thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. We appreciate all the love, all the support you show us every single day. 4 games, back to the normal schedule for Friday night. Absolutely love it. More hockey is better every single day. You can't deny it. 4 games Friday night. Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Islanders back on Long Island. Islanders trying to tie up that series. They're down 3-2 right now. Bruins 8 they had a chance to close out the series. Matthew Tkachuk, what a season he has had. It is very sad that he's not going to win the Hart Trophy. The year that he has had with the Florida Panthers, over 105 points. It's mind-boggling that a season like that and he's not going to win the Hart Trophy because Connor McDavid goes out and puts over 150 points. Nonetheless, Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk kept their season alive with a OT game winner against the Boston Bruins in Game 5. It's going back to Florida now. Game 6. I have the Bruins in 6 anyway, so I would absolutely love it if the Bruins close out this series on the road. Bruins in 6. That's exactly what I have. Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild back in Mini for Game 6 as well. I need the boys to step up. Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, do your thing. Don't let this be a fluke. You've had so many opportunities at this point. Please just get the job done. We need some offense. Don't let it just be the dead players. Matthew Grill is doing as much as he can out there. Please just start getting some goals. Some offense would be great. And the Colorado Avalanche down 3-2 against the first-time playoff seekers, Seattle Kraken. Second year in the league, first time in the postseason, up 3-2 in the series against the Colorado Avalanche. And it's absolutely incredible. Philip Grubauer, the blue line, everyone on the blue line, Jamie Alexiak, Vince Dunn, Justin Schultz, all the guys up front, Brandon Tanev, Matty Beniers, Jared McCann, who's now injured. They're all playing incredible right now. Seattle Kraken up 3-2 in the series. And they have a chance to close out the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Definitely going to watch that game. I haven't watched a ton of the Avalanche or Kraken series. Just catching the highlights after, but I'm definitely going to be watching this game. Going to be watching all the games. I'm not missing anything. It's Friday night. You got to start the weekend with some hockey. That's the only way to live it up here. But let's get to big time bets where the money is made. I got 5 picks. 5 picks here. Actually 6. I got 6 picks here. Got 1 from every single game. And I'll start with this. First game of the night. Carolina Hurricanes on the road against the Islanders. And I still don't think it's over. I think the Islanders win this game in the same type of fashion they won Game 5. Low-scoring game. So that will be one of my picks. First pick of the night. Islanders, Hurricanes, under 6.5. It will probably be under 5.5. Those will be the better odds. But you're going to be parlaying these together. Islanders, Hurricanes, bump it up to under 6.5 in the matchup. It's going to be 3-2 or 4-2. It's the very stingy goaltenders, stingy defensemen. We could see Frederik Andersen in the crease as well. Under 6.5 in this matchup. Islanders also on the money line. Take the Islanders in this matchup. They are not losing at home. This is going 7 games. It's been an incredible series so far if you have not been watching it. And I really hope some of those stars step up. We know Ilya Sorokin is going to be there. But will Matthew Barzal, Anders Lee, Bo Horvat, will they produce offensively and get this team going in the right direction and get some confidence and some momentum to stay alive and go moving forward in Game 7. Those are the first two picks. Islanders money line, Islanders Hurricanes under 6.5. Second two picks of the night. Pasternak's been okay this series. He's been good. It's not obviously not the same thing we've seen in the regular season, but that's not what you expect sometimes, or that's not what you get sometimes. But he's only got 2 goals in the series, 2 goals, only 2 points in 5 games. He hasn't scored since Game 3. I think we see a goal. I'm going David Pastrnak, anytime goal, maybe even first-time goal scorer. I'm going with the anytime goal in this situation, but I think the Bruins close out this series. It's gone long. It's gone too long already. Going 6 games. Bruins on the money line. That's one of the picks as well. Bruins on the money line. They are the second team to move on to the second round of the Stanley Cup postseason, and anytime goal from David Pastrnak. I'm also taking the Minnesota Wild on the money line at home against the Dallas Stars. We're going to get a ton of games going Game 7 because I've also got the Avalanche on the money line against the Seattle Kraken. Cale Makar back in the lineup. Valeri Nichushkin still not there. Some drama happening with that. Maybe we'll dive into that next week when Flip is back. But let's stick to big time bets. Islanders money line. Islanders Hurricanes under 6.5. Bruins money line. They are winning this series against the Panthers. David Pastrnak anytime goal. Wild money line. Avalanche money line. Parlay these together. You'll absolutely thank me later. Or at least parlay your favorites out of these one. Let me know if you got any different ideas, any different opinions, what you're parlaying, what your bets are as well for Friday night. Because maybe I'll love them. Maybe I'll like them, and I'll parlay and bet some money on your picks as well. Those are the big time bets. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you're tuning in every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time for all the playoff breakdown of the first round series, leading all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. And thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow. Peace.